Hey everyone, Complex back with another video, and today we're going to talk about Dragon Age 2. I wanted to give you my list of the top 6 essential mods. Now, as a heads up, this list does not include any of my character creation and or armor mods, just because a lot of my armor mods I use for aesthetic purposes only. And then I've got oodles and oodles of character creation mods. If that is something that you would like to see in a future separate video, leave it in the comments down below, and that's something that I can definitely put together for you guys. But in the meantime, I do have 6 mods that I personally consider essential. Once I downloaded them and stuck them in my load order, they really haven't left. One thing to note is that in order to install Dragon Age 2 mods, they are PC only. All of these mods that I am mentioning today are available on the Nexus Mods website, and I will link them all in the description down below. And also, in order to install these mods, you don't use a mod manager or anything like that. They just go in the override folder. Most of the mods in the description will actually leave the file path, so that way you know where to set up your override folder. Most of the time, most games don't come with an override folder in the correct spot. You just need to create the folder yourself. So just make sure you pay attention to that when you start modding DA2. But let's just dive on into our first mod, which is called Ultimate HD Pack. And it literally is what it sounds like. It is the ultimate pack to make everything a lot more high resolution. It is 2 and 4K textures, and I personally think it is utterly stunning. I think it just makes everything look a whole heck of a lot better, and it runs really smoothly. I've played it in 4K, I've played it in 1440, and have just loved it. Performance friendly. The one thing is you are going to need a large address awareness patch. I will link my personal favorite one in the description down below, but the mod author of the Ultimate HD Pack also on their Nexus listing does list the one that they're using, so you can kind of pick and choose, see what works for you. But if you are looking for an HD pack to make DA2 look all the more prettier, then I'd highly suggest checking this one out. Now, up next, we have a lock bash for DA2. I personally prefer being able to lockpick no matter what kind of character I am. It's a personal preference. So I like the lock bash mod for DA2. If you open up your abilities, you will see that it is in the same spot where your Mabari is. You can just hotkey it on your bar, you click on it, and it will say lock bash enabled. This should work for warriors and mages. And in order to use it, once it's enabled, it pretty much will just work for you. You just walk up to any container that is locked. As you can see here, the starter chest is always locked. It has the lock symbol, but I just clicked on it to open it like normal, and boom, it was opened. No fuss, no muss, just done. And let's just head on into the next mod. So up next, we have unique face textures for companions by Elise. If you've watched any of my previous modding videos, you know I am obsessed with Elise mods. They're always so beautiful and so well done, and this mod is definitely all of that and more. I love how high res and clean and just beautiful everyone looks, while still retaining that original charm that each of the characters have. They all still look like themselves. They just look like a better and more improved version. As a bonus, Elise has included textures for Cassandra and Talus. My favorite thing is that the Cassandra texture does include the scar that we see Cassandra have in DAI, so it's just some really nice continuity. The other nice thing about this mod is that it is modular. So when you download the mod and you open it up, you'll see that like Anders, Aveline, Fenris, Isabella, so on and so forth, they all have their own folders. So if you only want to use, let's say, the Isabella or the Meryl or the Fenris, you can, and then just delete the rest and use any other of the companion retextures that you'd like. So this is super nice that it's modular. So just make sure that you are paying attention to that in case you'd like to mix and match your companion retextures. Now up next, I have for you repeatable romance scenes. It adds several at-will romance scenes triggered from within the Hawk estate. If you've hung out with me on stream before, you know I do love a good romance, especially BioWare romances. It's one of the main reasons I fell in love with BioWare games, and I love that this mod allows me to have, well, repeatable romance scenes. As a bit of information about the mod, it does add 4 repeatable romance scenes per a love interest. 3 of them are just across all of the love interests, and 1 is unique to each of the romance options. Now, another thing to note is that you cannot trigger these romance scenes until you have locked in the romance, which means either Anders or Meryl have moved in, or in Act 3 you have reconfirmed Isabella or Fenris's romances, or Sebastian has proposed to you, should you be romancing Sebastian in your playthrough. But seriously, if you are one for the romances and you want some more time with your love interest of choice in this game, I'd highly suggest checking out this mod. Now, this next mod that I have for you is something that is going to be a very person dependent on whether you think that this is considered essential. It is called Arishok AI Rebalance, and it rebalances the Arishok fight at the end of Act 2. I, for one, very much dislike this Arishok fight. I've never found it to be particularly fun and engaging, and it honestly just makes me cranky. Now, what this mod does is it balances the Arishok's AI and ability cooldown to make him less likely to chain knockdowns. It also will allow him to not heal himself quite as often, and it lowers his cooldown. I believe normally the mod author had mentioned like his powers should come back every 10 to 15 seconds, whereas like a warrior hawk, they have a cooldown of 20 to 30 seconds. So it just rebalances it so he's a little bit closer to what a warrior hawk would be in order to make the fight, well, a little bit more fair and a little bit more pleasant. You're still going to be playing Ring Around the Arishok. I mean, there's no way around that. But whether or not you're playing as a mage, warrior, or rogue hawk, this mod will make the fight a little bit more bearable and definitely get you in and out a little bit quicker so you can get back to the fun parts of DA2. Now, last but not least, we have Morosic 75 Arsenal. I personally love this weapon mod. It adds about 76 new items into the game, including shields, swords, daggers, axes, two-handed weapons, you name it, it's there. I love this mod. I think all of the weapons are utterly stunning. They have a lot of cool perks to them, and they all have rune slots. I, for one, have installed this mod and just forever ago and have not taken it out of my load order. There is an optional file to have everything just arrive at either Gamlen's house in your storage or at the Hawk Estate, depending on when you install this mod. Normally, though, all of the weapons do just show up in the various shops throughout Kirkwall between the 3 acts. So it has been divided up between Act 1, 2, and 3. So you don't get everything at once. So if you'd like to buy it, it is there. But there is also that awesome optional file that I personally have opted into because I want my hawk to have the pretty daggers or staff or anything like that from the get-go. So if you're looking for a new weapon mod, I'd highly suggest checking this one out. But y'all, that is gonna be it from me today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this helped if you were having any trouble finding yourself some either new DA2 mods, or maybe you're just looking for a place to start with your own modding experience within DA2. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night and or day, depending on where you are in the world, and I will catch you next time. Bye, guys.